Hello, Woodland Unified Elementary School teachers. Electron Tom here, and I'm so excited to showcase our Amplify Science program for California. And I'm going to start by imagining what your students might do if they have to build a floating paperclip. We're going to provide all those resources for a hands-on investigation. Imagine your third graders coming up with a really cool design like my prototype here, using all the resources that we provide. And now, if I pull from the bottom, I have a floating paperclip showing balanced forces. And that's what Amplify Science is all about, generating that excitement in your classroom so your students are going to enjoy learning science. And don't worry, we have you covered. You may think, wow, that seems like a lot of resources. We provide them all. This is a full kit here, and you'll have one for every unit that you're teaching, with all the amazing resources needed to make science come alive in your classroom and inspire your students to be the next biomimicry engineer, conservation biologist, or glue engineer, or even a pinball machine engineer. Really cool science roles that students are going to take on as they work through our program. So my agenda today is going to be very clear in this quick video. I'm going to do a program overview. I'm going to talk about the program components and then our teaching pedagogy that makes Amplify Science the best out there. So with that, I want to always cover the most important criteria for teachers. I taught for many years and I know this is important. We are a fully bilingual program. All print and digital resources are available in both Spanish and in Espanol. Hands-on setup. Takes about 5 minutes to set up a lab. All those materials are ready to go. We have a slide deck for every lesson, PowerPoint and Google, and in Spanish, and you can edit any of those and customize and make the lesson come alive. But the good thing is, it's already a clickable lesson plan for you. Now, maybe you're nervous about teaching this way. We have a video of a real teacher teaching every lesson. I'm going to say that again, a real teacher teaching every lesson in a video. So makes your prep easy. It's great for substitute teachers, also students who are absent, or maybe my English language learners or my special ed students can see this teacher teach the lesson again. We also have a video of each hands-on investigation. And then we do have text that students are going to be engaged in getting evidence from. And so we have accessible text features. Our digital text has an audio function as well. We also have a video of a real human reading the text, a real teacher reading the text to the students, as well as all the lessons have differentiated lesson supports. So check that off your list and let's go a little bit further in. So why are people choosing Amplify Science? Well, we take a true phenomena-based approach where students get to be in those scientific and engineering roles. Also, we make it easy for you. 3 quick steps to get started. And I'll showcase that in my presentation. And then a little further down, reading and literacy integrated into science. Amplify is the leader in the science of reading with our literacy programs. And we're applying the science of reading to the reading of science. So we want to make sure students are working interactively with our text. So let's dive in and let's talk about our phenomena-driven approach.
The Amplify Science phenomena-driven approach all starts with shifting away from topics teaching such as sound waves, sea turtles, and energy conversions to our Amplify phenomenon. Dolphins communicating underwater using sound waves to connect a mother dolphin to her calf, or how do sea turtles survive where there are sharks, or a town experiencing frequent blackouts. This anchoring phenomenon becomes meaningful to our students. This all ties into our phenomena-based unit structure where we start by engaging students with that real-world problem and that compelling anchoring phenomenon. Then we're going to collect evidence from multiple sources in a feedback loop to increase the students' complex understanding. And then finally, we want students to apply what they learn to solve a different problem through our application phenomenon at the end of each unit. Now let's look at that blue feedback loop where students are going to collect evidence from multiple sources. They're going to do so through our process called do, talk, read, write, visualize. This proves very effective for meeting the different learning styles in your classroom. Do means hands-on experiments and hands-on investigations. Students will use the materials from the kit to collect evidence to support their claims and ideas. Talk means discourse in science. Of course, students love to talk, so we're going to help support scientific discourse by embedding 8 different discourse routines in our slide decks as well as in the lessons themselves. Things such as think, pair, share. Then we're going to have students read. They're going to read the text to get understanding and gain evidence from the text, and then they're going to write their findings, either in our print notebooks or in the digital interactive experience. And then finally, Visualization will happen with multimedia, apps, interactive modeling tools, and simulations. This do, talk, read, write, visualize approach provides students multiple at-bats at the same ideas as they develop their understanding of the anchoring phenomenon. So when we talk about doing, we mean hands-on activities, like these two young learners here doing a magnet sort, trying to figure out a pattern of what objects magnets are attracted to. And of course, we know that to be metals with iron. Along the way, students are going to experience things like flavor labs, which cause a very emotional reaction and something they're going to remember. Look at our kindergartners figuring out how to design pinball machines with all the different pushes and pulls to make them work properly as they investigate as pinball machine engineers. Here's some teachers with Spruce the sea turtle getting ready to release her back into the ocean. But no one says it better than a child in the back seat of a car having that conversation with their parent.
Emma, what are you learning about in science?
All plants need water. Sometimes it rains in the desert. And we're figuring out why does the black one doesn't grow and the pink one and the white one does grow.
But you don't.
And we figured out the one who had the caterpillars. We already figured that one out because no caterpillars would have. Okay? The end!
I love that Emma just showcased how Amplify Science really changes the way students think. Never once did she say, "My teacher told me," or "I learned." She was very proud to say she figured out the answers herself. And students are going to do that by going on a problem-based deep dive with each unit, where they're going to take on a unique role as a scientist or an engineer and solve a real-world problem. It's an engaging three-dimensional storyline that encourages their learning. Now let's take a look at a problem-based deep dive from first grade, where students are exploring how can a sea turtle survive in an ocean full of sharks. In this introductory video, students will see Spruce the sea turtle swimming safely by all these big predators. The role students are going to play are aquarium scientists. They've rehabilitated Spruce and they're releasing her back into the ocean, but they're worried that she might get eaten. So early on, teachers will introduce the role of aquarium scientist. We're not a scripted program, but we do provide teacher talk to make it easy as you introduce these roles and how students are going to figure out how plants and animals survive. Along the way, students are going to interact with the literacy component of our program through the interactive text, whether it be print or digital. Also, we'll provide all the resources for your unit question, chapter question, in both English and Spanish for your print-rich environment in your classroom. Students will engage by watching videos, observing how each other eat as they work through understanding these plant and animal defenses. Students will engage in the science and engineering practice of building models as they design a shell, camouflage, or spikes to protect the soft body of the organism from the teeth of that big comb. All those materials that you see here are provided for the students in our material kit. Now that we've taken a look at a problem-based deep dive, let's look at the units themselves. In K2, there are 3 units of study in each grade level for a total of 66 lessons in each grade. In grades 3 through 5, there are 4 units for a total of 88 lessons. Keep in mind, you're not going to add additional lessons and days of instruction to give assessments. The assessments are embedded in those lessons. These awesome units were created by the Lawrence Hall of Science, and we were built for NGSS and three-dimensional learning, not retrofitted. The Lawrence Hall of Science completed Amplify Science after the frameworks were finalized for NGSS. So that means we are truly designed for these instructional shifts required for teaching these new standards. You're going to see a three-dimensional approach woven through every unit, chapter, and lesson to make it really easy for implementation. We're going to take those disciplinary core ideas of earth, life, and physical science and engineering and bring in 8 science and engineering practices, the action items we want students to accomplish. And then we're going to pepper in those cross-cutting concepts to develop student thinking so they can make connections. We anchor this all together with our anchoring phenomena, such as a floating train from grade 3 unit balancing forces. We make this easy for teachers. In our print and digital teacher guide, you're going to find 3-dimensional statements that spell out the practices, core ideas, and cross-cutting concepts. At a lesson level, they're very succinct, and many teachers turn these into an I can statement. Now let's explore how easy this program is to use with our effective resources for teachers. Every lesson comes with that classroom slide deck in both PowerPoint and Google Slide version. These are fully editable. You can customize every version, and this includes the Spanish versions. What you're going to love about these is that they are a clickable lesson plan. They include hands-on activity supports with instructions and images for anytime there's an investigation. We embed the videos at point of use, all ready for you to hit play. Classroom raw materials are referenced, such as our unit question, chapter question. Also, anytime there's a digital tool, we provide the supports and instructions in the slide deck. If I'm having a literacy-driven part of a lesson, you'll also see the student books and images there. Students have work to complete. That work will also be showcased in the slide decks. Here we can see exactly what students are supposed to complete in their notebook. But also I want to point out we embed formative assessments within the activities in the lessons as well as in the slides. So here I can see my teacher actions, my suggested talk, but also my on-the-fly assessment of what to look for, and then the now what, how to modify instruction to help my learners. So these are truly a clickable lesson plan. You'll also find instructional videos for every lesson taught by real Amplify science teachers. These can be used in a variety of ways to support absent students, substitute teachers, or your own professional development, or supporting a special ed student and an English language learner. We have hands-on investigation videos for authentic discovery. Students can watch these other students collect evidence and then use that data to make their own inferences and conduct that reasoning. Accessing the text is super important. So we have a video read aloud of a real teacher reading the text to the students in both English and Spanish. When we think about accessing the book, we have the video read aloud of the teacher. We have the digital student-directed read aloud. We also include the images in the classroom slide deck so you don't have to toggle between resources, and then students can always pull out the print books. All of these resources come in our curriculum kits. They're designed to support a class size of up to 36 students, and that means working in small groups of 2 to 4 students per group. Quick and easy lab setup within 5 minutes, and no shopping is needed. The image you're seeing there would represent what a second grade classroom would get from all of our great resources. This teacher shared that it was so nice to have a science curriculum that provides most of the materials for my labs. The only materials you're going to have to provide are things like scissors, tape, and glue. Here you can see that the students did a great investigation on chromatography using our resources. So let's take a broad look at all the easy-to-use teaching and learning resources. We provide teachers with a digital and print teacher guide so you can plan the way that works best for you. We have hands-on materials included in our curriculum kits for quick and easy setup. Inside the kits, we also include the student books to engage those learners in getting evidence from text. The unit curriculum bins include all the student books. There's 5 unique titles in each kit, all print teaching resources, and all hands-on materials. Students will use the student notebooks to demonstrate their understanding. These can be consumable print items, or all the work can be done digitally in our interactive classroom experience. K-1 teachers will get the same titles, but also as big mega flip books for that close carpet reading time with those K-1 students. Amplify Science has engaging technology also that enhances student exploration and makes teaching very easy. We believe in a gradual release of student-facing digital content. So in K-1, students have access to the digital readers in both English and Spanish. A teacher controls all the other multimedia. In grades 2 and 3, we still have the digital readers, but we now add in the science practice tools. In grades 4 and 5, on top of that, we add in simulations. Let's take a look at what each one of those look like. Our digital texts come with audio in both English and Spanish.
Animals also need to eat so they can grow and survive. Different kinds of animals eat different things. What do these animals eat?
Students can zoom in on the digital flipbook and look at those bolded academic words.
Los animales también necesitan comer para poder crecer y sobrevivir.
And also you can see they can easily toggle to the Spanish version. Here's an example of a modeling tool where students can demonstrate and test their understanding as they're trying to figure out the placement of acorn seeds if they could grow in the shade, the sidewalk, or in the soil, or in the grass. And then once again, we can easily toggle to our Spanish version of this modeling tool. Sorting tools allow students to demonstrate their understanding visually. Here, students are exploring how the different seeds get carried on the fur. One thing you'll notice, not only do we include the name of the seed, but also an image to help those learners. How do we address those two science and engineering practices that are mathematical based? Well, here's a simple example of a data tool where students are putting in this population of squirrels. Over time, they can see with the graph that is made that there's a decrease in that population. So analyzing that data becomes very easy with our digital data tools. Students will love collecting evidence by using digital technology in our simulations. Here, students are studying this gecko population and see how it's being influenced by the streetlights that have been put up in the community. If he can open his mouth and stick his tongue out, he's ready to pounce on that prey. But maybe too much light might be affecting his ability to hunt effectively at night, or maybe a predator can see him. Amplify gives you the options to teach your lessons fully in print or digitally or in a blended manner. Let's take a look at the digital interactive classroom. Teachers can assign directly into an LMS and then press the Teach button. We can launch a class, and when we launch the class, you push the presentation directly to the student's screen on their Chromebook, iPad, or whatever they're using. As you get to see all the notes on the right and all your teacher moves, students will only see the activity slides on the left projected on their device. Let's say you get to a page where students would normally complete print work in their notebook. They now can work on this work interactively, digitally, and you have the ability to press that View Work button and see all that work coming in real time. Students do not have to hit save. It's auto-saving their work and automatically refreshing to the teacher dashboard. Our digital notebook has many accessible features. Students can take and embed pictures. Think of our littlest learners who might not be able to write out a sentence, but they can share their voice recordings of their answers. We can also insert text boxes and interact with the drawing and the coloring and the erasing with all those cool crayons and digital tools. So as you can see, Amplify Science is a true solution for a print blended or digital teaching environment. Now let's talk more about the easily to implement assessments. Every unit begins with a pre-unit assessment to really gauge what students' prior knowledge looks like. Every chapter has a critical juncture assessment. We call it a critical juncture because we want to make sure we provide any kind of tailored remediation instruction at that point to make sure our students are successful and ready to move to the next chapter. Every chapter also has a self-assessment, which is a great way for students to reflect upon their own learning. And like I mentioned before, we have on-the-fly embedded assessments in the activities per each lesson. At the end of the unit, we have a combination of targeted discussions, student-generated models, and performance tasks for the summative assessment at the end of the unit. K-1 teachers get the bonus assessment called the Clipboard Assessment Tool. With this tool, teachers have the questions they can ask students and what the students would respond. This is great for our emerging learners because they may not be able to write out a full sentence, but they can definitely tell us a lot verbally. Now let's talk about standard-based benchmark assessments as we prepare students to take the CAST exam. The benchmark assessments start in grade 3 and go through grade 5. There will be 4 per grade level, and they include visual stimuli and multiple choice questions. The depth of knowledge, or the DOK level of the questions, are level 2 and up. I mentioned how our assessment system has differentiated and tailored instruction notes, but also every lesson has differentiated supports for the teacher. We include supports for diverse learners, any potential challenges that might happen in the lesson, specific strategies for our English learners, those who need more support, and of course those who need more challenge, our honor students, who we want to make sure stay enriched throughout the course. Every lesson has all these levels of support for you to choose and implement in your classroom. Now let's talk about how easy it is to teach with Amplify Science. I'm going to take you through my 3-step prep process. First, we're going to visit the lesson brief. I'm going to do this digitally, but you could do it in print. I'm going to get materials from the curriculum bin, and then I'm going to access my classroom slides. Here I am in grade 3. I'm going to go into lesson 1.2, making an object move. So my first step would be either getting my Google slide decks or my PowerPoint. Once I have that and review those, my next step would go over to my materials and preparation list and get all these materials out of my kit and organized ready for the labs. We even include all the Ziploc bags to organize your materials. And then my last step is to check out that differentiation brief to support my diverse learners, look at any challenges in this lesson, my strategies for English learners. I go a little bit further, and I can even look at strategies for students who need more support and those who need more challenge. And now I'm ready to teach. So before I conclude, I'd like to take you back to our original floating paperclip challenge and show you the great work that your students are going to accomplish. They're going to come up with these amazing models and demonstrate their understanding of balanced forces through all these hands-on investigations and really true NGSS learning. So why choose Amplify Science? We're a true phenomena-based program. We're easy to use, and we're going to support your literacy instruction. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and have a wonderful rest of your day.